Antonio Brown warming up here on the field in Miami. Listen, I'm a former Patriots legend. This still looks weird to me.
I'm not going to get used to this. I mean, I guess once he catches a couple passes and goes deep, because that's what people do against the Dolphins, maybe we'll get used to it, but it's weird.
All right, we got Game Day View presented by Jeep Gladiator. Starts now. Welcome to Game Day View presented by Jeep Gladiator. I'm Hawk, joined by analytics analyst Cynthia Freeland, as well as NFL.com columnist Greg Rosenthal. We are here to help you make your final decisions in fantasy and all your polls, driven by expertise and up-to-the-minute reports. Guys, the turf pillows are out. It must mean it is football Sunday. How are you feeling today?
Look, I got to get something out of the way right here. I owe you a cupcake.
Yes.
We went with a muffin and 2 cupcake pops. So
yes.
Congratulations.
I got to get in on this week.
I love a person who pays up on their bets.
That's right.
Listen, we're going to start the show off today by going on the field.
You couldn't ask for better weather here at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. We're in the mid-70s right now with a light wind, but by kickoff, we're talking a mid-80s. So weather won't be a factor, but perhaps Redskins corner Josh Norman's bulletin board material will be. He was asked by a reporter about Dak Prescott's Week 1 performance. If you don't remember, I'll take you back. He had 4 touchdowns, found 7 different receivers in the game, and he put up a perfect passer rating. Now, Norman said anybody can do that, talking about this offensive line and the time that he has behind it. Josh Norman has struggled against a Dak Prescott-led offense, though, just going 2-6 against them. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, is 5-1 against these Redskins, and he is yet to throw a pick. So we'll see how this game plays out. But if you check out Amari Cooper's pregame outfit, it looks like he's feeling pretty good about himself. That's a lot of swag there. Now to Mike Garafolo in Baltimore.
Thanks, Jane. Well, pick your storyline here in Baltimore. Maybe it's 2 young, multi-dimensional quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray going up against each other. Maybe it's the return of Terrell Suggs, the longtime Raven, to Baltimore here at M&T Bank Stadium. Suggs spoke to his new Cardinals teammates last night. I'm told he told them, I would love nothing more than to beat the Ravens today. Not that he had a bitter exit here. Both sides knew that it was just time to move on, but obviously he wants to show up well against his former team. Now back to those quarterbacks. Look for the Ravens defense to try to pressure Kyler Murray a lot more than the Lions did last week. Also look for them to use more defensive backs than linebackers, guys that can cover a lot of ground. That's what I'm hearing here this morning at the stadium, and if that sounds familiar, it's a similar strategy that the Chargers employed when they played against the Ravens last year and Lamar Jackson. One other thing to watch, Kyler Murray locked in on Larry Fitzgerald late in the game. The Ravens are going to look for that. They know, as Earl Thomas told me, quote, number 11 will make any quarterback look good. Now to Stacey Dales in Green Bay.
Mike, coming to you guys here from Lambeau Field. We've got the Vikings and the Packers, a wonderful divisional square-off, and we've chronicled very well throughout the course of this offseason. Matt LaFleur taking over as the head coach for these Green Bay Packers. They make their home debut, and he's done everything to change the culture. He's painted the walls. They're brighter. He's added different games to the player rooms, and they want more fan engagement from these Packers folks in this community. So they've actually created some new videos for these big jumbotrons. And specifically, I talked to pass rusher Zadarius Smith this week, and he and Preston Smith, also with that defensive front, actually went up to Matt LaFleur and said, hey, can you help us even more on third down? So they put together some third down videos for these fans to get involved and get loud when Kirk Cousins and company have the football. And I remind you, the Bears went 3 of 15 on third down in Week 1, so they're going to try to make that happen today. The grass, as always, at Lambeau looks immaculate, and we'll be in store for a good one. Right now, Tom Pelissero, take it away, my friend.
Thanks, Stacey. We're going to talk a lot today about how the Steelers bounce back after an ugly Week 1 showing against the New England Patriots. But what about the Seahawks? They gritted out a win last week against the Bengals on a day that their identity, their run game, really never got started. I spoke on the phone to Chris Carson this week, and he told me, don't overreact to that. Cincinnati ran basically a different front in that game than they had run the entire preseason. Seattle had to figure out how to react to that. They did make some big plays in the passing game. Look for them to get back to what they do best today against the Steelers, and that is running the football. Coach Pete Carroll's message throughout the week was stay consistent. Pete, by the way, turned 68 years old today. He's in the background here somewhere behind me. Carson told me he seems like he's 28. He's probably the biggest kid on the team. Back to you guys.
We got the Seahawks in Pittsburgh. Steelers here favored by 3.5. We will make our picks later in the show, but Cynthia, what are we watching for?
Tom Pelissero hit it right on the head. It's really, does the run game set up both of these quarterbacks for success? We didn't see it last week. We saw a lot of confusion, especially in the beginning of both games. The Seahawks were able to right the ship, and obviously the Steelers were not. But really, does this run set up the pass? Are both of these quarterbacks going to look like the guys we expected to look like in the beginning of the season, or are the defenses going to take over?
One big difference, though, is that the Seahawks have Brian Schottenheimer calling plays. And to me, that's a big advantage for Pittsburgh because you're taking the ball out of Russell Wilson's hand, and we thought the Seattle O-line had gotten better last year. They're not the worst in the league anymore. They looked pretty rough a week ago, and that reliance on the run, I really believe, gives the Steelers more margin for error.
My problem with the Steelers offense is I don't think they've quite found a rhythm in Antonio Brown's absence yet. Now, I think James Conner's a beast. I think Juju is going to be phenomenal, but I think it's going to take some time for him to get used to being the #1 option. And until they prove to have weapons all over the board, I think it's going to be tougher than people realize.
James Washington is a guy I'd look to get more and more snaps. I mean, he's the one who made a big play down the field. Dante Moncrief was not getting it done. Look for him to get a lot of targets today.
I'm with you on that one. I also think the deep passes and who ultimately is able to connect on those deep passes on either team, that's going to be one too, because Tyler Lockett for me and DK Metcalf are two that I really also anticipate to be, like, whoever wins the deep passing threat to me is probably who wins this game.
Don't bet against Ben when it's deep passing. You've seen it in the AFC.
I can't hate on Ben.
Or Russell Wilson.
All right, we'll get our picks here in a minute. Let's go on to Green Bay, where it looks like we have a former Vikings legend who made the trip.
That little kid?
For
Oh, he's so cute.
Packers favored by 3 in this
talk to
one.
Dales?
Look at old Brett.
I mean, Vikings legend. Please.
That's a Vikings legend.
Do you think he's coming out of retirement?
Hall of Fame quarterback of the Minnesota
Is he
Vikings.
coming back?
He's probably there for a tryout.
People sleep on how embarrassed he made those Packers in the first couple games back for Minnesota, going up and down the field on them. I don't think it's going to be that kind of game today, though. I think it's going to be a defensive game as much as these quarterbacks are
We should do a
making.
Twitter poll. Who's in better shape, him or Ben Roethlisberger?
Oh.
I like that. That's a good segue. We should actually, listen, make sure you're hitting us up on Twitter. We're going to answer some of your questions live here on the show.
Brett
Packers.
Favre? Ben Roethlisberger.
Definitely.
He's
Ben-
jacked
Brett
still.
Favre.
I don't know if you
He's
noticed,
jacked,
but he shouldn't have guns that big at
Better
his
shape
age.
than I'll ever be.
All right, Packers favored by 3. G, what are we watching for?
The defense. I mean, I love this Packers defense coming off week 1. Darnell Savage. What a great name for a safety, but what a great action that he showed his rookie year. This defense is so good. It had my daughter Ellis, who's 7 years old, asking me, who is this Kenny Clark guy? You got a 7-year-old talking about a 6'2", 320-pounder. They're good at every single level. I think that Vikings opener was a bit of a fluke, the way they were able to just run all game. This will be a much bigger test.
Well, I feel like Stefanski, since he's taken over for offensive coordinator, they've done a better job running the football, and I know that's to Zimmer's liking because the defensive guy wants to control the clock. Cynthia, what do you got?
Well, you go up 21 points on the Falcons early in that last game, and then the Vikings don't have to throw. So when you don't have to throw, it's a huge advantage. Stefanski can be like, well, which running play should we play now? Oh, another one? Okay, great. This is wonderful. Right. So ultimately, for me in this one, I don't think it's going to be that easy. We're going to see what is this O-line? What are the Vikings O-line really made of in this one? And that's scarier for me. So if you're a fantasy owner with Dalvin Cook, that means a little bit of a pump the brakes. He's not going to be RB4 again this week.
I liked how easily they adapted to that zone running scheme. I mean, they look like they've been doing it for years. But it's kind of in the NFC North how these are defensive teams, and at the end of a close game between two defensive teams, who do you trust? Aaron Rodgers or Mitchell Trubisky a week ago? You trust Rodgers. Who do you trust this week? Rodgers or Kirk Cousins this week? I mean, I trust Rodgers.
Yeah, okay. I'm going. I'm not going to get my picks yet. We'll get picks for this a little bit later. But first, on to Washington, where the Redskins host a man who went ham in week 1.
Out of the gun. Prescott, play action, got a man wide open to the middle. That ball is caught by Jarwin at the 5 for the first Dallas touchdown of the year. They twist, stunt, fade left side of the end zone. Time! Oh, what a throw! First down, play fake, go to the right, Witten's open. At the 5, at the 3, touchdown for the goal. Play action, block from Tyron Smith. Deep middle in stride at the 5, walking in for the touchdown.
Cowboys favored by 5.5 in this one. I'm looking to see if Case Keenum can undo the hype train that is the Dallas Cowboys. Am I wishful thinking?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. That you're going to look for it, or that it's going to happen?
That's what I want to see. What happens? I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, you could look for it.
Yeah, we're all looking for it.
But you could still look for it, and the game could be over.
All right, what do you guys got?
Tougher matchup, I think, this week for the Washington offense, which looked good. I mean, Dallas is getting healthier. They get Byron Jones back from a hip surgery. He looked pretty good last week. DeMarcus Lawrence coming back from his injury looked pretty good. And then when you flip the ball to the other side, you have Dak Prescott, who got a lot of credit, but I think his coach got a little more. I mean, Kellen Moore wasn't making those throws. Kellen Moore wasn't putting it 45 yards down the field on a dime. This is a different Dak Prescott this season.
Well, you talk about all the great weapons for the Cowboys. I want to talk about if you need fantasy points, you need to get Adrian Peterson in your lineup because they're going to obviously go to him a ton. I expect him to get just so much volume. And even if the game script doesn't really mean that you would consider running the ball, I still think that they're going to be like, okay, Adrian Peterson, go.
Plus, they know his favorite play. You told us before the show, you asked him his favorite play.
I asked him his favorite play, and I said he could not say kneel down victory formation because that's what everyone says first. And he said, my favorite play, run to the right.
Well, when you're Adrian Peterson, I guess that makes sense.
Just all day, run to the right.
Simple. Their offense actually looks kind of fun this year. I know Keenum
Terry McLaurin
isn't
also.
a guy you build around, but the young receivers played pretty well for them.
Who would you start, Chris Thompson or Adrian Peterson today?
Terry McLaurin? No, Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson, 1,000,000% Adrian Peterson. And then I would also, if you need a sleeper, Terry McLaurin.
I got to hurry up and make some lineup changes then.
Let's go. Let's go. We got to get this show done.
All
Do
right,
that.
Here we go. Let's check out some actives and inactives for today. The big one, Antonio Brown is playing. Anything here standing out?
No surprise, Antonio Brown. I think Mike Williams was the guy that was most uncertain coming into today.
Yep.
Maybe he's not getting a full complement of snaps, but that's bad news for your Lions. You're publicly a Lions fan, right? That's not private, Cynthia.
Oh, I mean, look, I am a real Lions fan, which means Mike Williams playing just means there's probably going to be like a Mike Williams touchdown, Keenan Allen touchdown, Austin Eckler 2 touchdowns, and probably even Virgil Green, the tight end replacement for Hunter Henry. Yeah, he's probably going to have a touchdown too. So there we go.
Good news for your
We got some more actives and inactives here.
David Bakhtiari for the Packers. That's big news.
That's good news. Cam Robinson out. That's some bad news. Gardner Minshew there. That's a rough one. J.J. Watt-sized hole coming at.
Good luck.
J.J. Watt's not going to be happy coming off a Ofer.
All right, here's the man, the myth, the legend, looking dripped out. What kind of day is he going to have today? We'll find out on Game Day View, presented by Jeep Gladiator.
This is NFL Network, the place where football and culture collide. It's the collision of the GOATs and the MCs.
Tell me about the offensive side of the ball.
With the fashion and the food.
I promise you're gonna love it here. Eat it.
Slammed in with the fans, the stands, and the 12th man. Mashed up with the music.
It's a real big cultural moment right now.
And the movies.
I started watching the show years ago.
Mixed in with the X's and O's and the oohs and ahs.
Are you kidding me?
It's the fantasy.
You can't steer away from Hopkins, but you can certainly take Adams over.
And the reality. It's the access.
People are gonna count us out every week.
And the attitude.
Say it to management or shut your mouth and put your money on the line.
It's the trash talk.
Go, do it quick.
And the crazy talk.
Lamar Jackson out of pile. Let's go.
It's all here, all day, every day. Because there's no such thing as too much football.
We're now going to Chicago, where it looks like football weather this Sunday morning.
This just happened with Cleveland.
Mayfield fires!
This is NFL Game Day highlights. Let's get it going.
Touchdown,
Because I talked to him. He called up. And he got to go. There we go.
We got you covered from morning to night. NFL Game Day, Sunday at 9, only on NFL Network.
We welcome you to NFL Total Access.
It's one of the best things about the National Football League.
A lot of news today in the NFL.
There's always something to talk about.
Andrew Luck rocking the football world.
Always something to find out.
The pass is in the pass. It was definitely sharp.
Reporting on every team, every weeknight.
They create so many mismatch opportunities.
As it unfolds right in front of our eyes.
Follow my guy, James Jones. That's when you're going to find out what's going on.
We know the league better than anyone. NFL Total Access. Weeknights only on NFL Network.
We got the T-Sizzle revenge game. Terrell Suggs, short tie in the tunnel, short temper on the field.
Look at how little the backpack looks in his hand.
I know, he's huge.
He's dressing angry. He's a former King Ugly in Baltimore, according to their Hard Knocks, so he's trying to prove that wrong.
Not number one King Ugly, though.
Yeah.
On the field.
Close, though.
All right, in Baltimore, it's a good place to start. It's time to get to some individual performance projections. We got Lamar Jackson. Cynthia, what do you got?
I have less than 299 passing yards, not total, so you still want to play him for fantasy, but this is just a passing yards thing. I'm not saying he's a running back. I'm not making anything like that. I'm just talking about this is going to be a game where they want to control the clock because they don't want to give Cliff Kingsbury a chance to kind of do some tricks with Kyler Murray like we saw the Lions allow that to happen last week.
Okay, that must mean the running game's going to get going.
I think not just him, but also Mark Ingram.
Little regression to the mean. Last week was a career day.
It was a little bananas. I mean, no deep safety. Okay, great. Let's throw over the top. No deep safety. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I could watch this all day.
Great. If you're not going to put safety
all right,
up
next
there,
we're on
whatever.
to Allen Robinson. What do you got for me?
Okay, so this guy has kind of quietly become the most consistent passing option for Mitchell Trubisky. And if you look to see 82 yards, hit 108 last game or over 100 last game. So 82, I think that's conservative. I think we're going to see something more like, around 90, 95, maybe even up into 100. So consistent.
I like this. I'm always hesitant to go against Cynthia's computer. But who do the Broncos have at cornerback? Allen Robinson is a winning matchup there, whoever he's going up against.
I mean, Chris Harris Jr. is a little scary, but let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side.
All right, let's go to defense now. You got the 49ers. What are we looking for here?
So we just saw that Nick Bosa is active. So 49ers defense against the Bengals. I'm going to go two sacks. I think that might be even conservative. So 2+.
Okay, yeah.
2+.
I could see that. I probably think they have more.
I'm with you. They're still starting Cincinnati, one of your old teammates, Andre Smith, who the fans were all over back then. They're still all over.
I know, but he's been consistent
Okay.
for a long time.
But that doesn't mean good, right? Because consistent means the same.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'm not like
you're
knocking
trying
him.
to put me in a corner here.
No. Here's the thing that you say. You say, no, Cynthia, we saw Joe Mixon's active too. Play him in fantasy. They're going to run the ball more, which means less opportunities to sack. That's how you come back at that. See?
I love it. All right, so listen, we're going to stick in the NFC here, and we're on to the big game out in L.A.
Down at 10, Breeze from the gun, takes a snap, goes to the near side, hit early hit on timing. Sean Payton is all the way down at the 10. Unbelievable no call.
And his kick is good! Settles into the pocket, arm is hit, ball is in the air, middle of the field, it is intercepted! Zuerlein sets up for a 57-yard try to win the NFC Championship game. And Greg Zuerlein sends the Rams to the Super Bowl! LA will play for the Lombardi!
All right, there you have it. The Saints at the Rams. First meeting between these two teams since the infamous title game a year ago. Rams favored by 2.5. What are you watching for, G?
Which coach provides a bigger advantage? Because to me, Sean McVay is kind of the defining offensive coach right now in the NFC. Sean Payton was a decade ago. He was the Sean that everyone watched. And maybe that cancels each other out. But I like Wade Phillips on the defensive side coming up with solutions to slow down Sean Payton.
I like the battle of the Seans as like
Sean off.
It's a big deal. The Sean off. So the Sean with the advantage for me, I have 26-24 in favor of the home team, the Rams. So I have them kind of the same outcome as the last one.
So are you worried about the Rams' offensive chemistry? Because, I mean, they're trying to learn a new way of doing things that doesn't entail Todd Gurley touching the ball 25 times a game.
So I think if you look at targeting deep passing in this game, that's a smart matchup just no matter who they're facing in this matchup against the Saints. So if you look at the mismatch between Brandon Cooks and Eli Apple or Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods, I think all of them are fully playable. So we didn't see Jared Goff get that deep ball going last game against the Panthers as well as we're probably going to see it in this one.
The Panthers played them deep a week ago, and Jared Goff believed that he made good decisions in terms of being patient. That's one of the reasons why I do like the Rams to win this game at home. I think it's a game that could decide home field advantage down the line. Yeah, Todd Gurley doesn't need to touch that ball that much because Malcolm Brown's doing a great job too, and I think their offense will be more in sync this week.
All right, we heard Cynthia's picks. It's time to make our picks. I'm going to go with the Saints myself. I think they avenged the loss from a year ago, and they take it over in L.A. Who do you got, Greg?
I have the Rams winning and a little more than by 2.5. So let's have them cover
All right, here we go. Next, we got Seahawks Steelers. Let's make our picks. Cynthia, who you got? Seahawks or Steelers?
Okay, so I have an upset in this one because the Steelers are favored in this one, and I actually have the Seahawks. And all Steelers fans have let me know their feelings on this one, but I have 23-21 in favor of the Seahawks. Seahawks.
I agree. I have the Seahawks as well. I think Pittsburgh is still trying to find their identity offensively, and I think it's going to be a problem for longer than people realize. G, who you got?
Yeah, all the talk in Pittsburgh about offense. How about their defensive line? I think this is a day where Stephon Tuitt and Cameron Hayward take over. They pressure Russell Wilson, and the Steelers take care of business.
All right, they're running the ball. Chris Carson.
Not enough.
Not enough. Cowboys, Redskins next. Cynthia, who you got?
Ooh, this one's a big one for me. I think that the Cowboys win this one very convincingly. Right now on the screen, you see 26-21. I want to reflect a slower pace. I don't think they're going to have this just dominant performance in terms of just tons of passing yards and tons of touchdowns. I think it is a very convincing, maybe boring second half because the Cowboys are ahead.
Yeah, Cowboys favored by 5.5 in this one. I have the Cowboys as well. I think Zeke in that lineup, they're going to give him the ball more. The offense is only going to get better, which is tough to imagine the way they were on fire a week ago. Greg, what do you got?
I have the Cowboys winning convincingly as well. This is a team that wanted to build from the front seven on defense. We didn't see it a week ago. They're without Jonathan Allen up front. I think Dallas does whatever they want on the ground and through the air.
All right, next game we got the Vikings and the Packers. Packers favored by 3 in this one. Cynthia, tee us off.
Packers by 4. I have 24-20. This one's all about the Packers defense. I understand the Vikings have a good defense too, but I think Aaron Rodgers' advantage in this one. I really genuinely believe in this one. We see some real magic come back into that Packers offense.
I'm going with the upset. I like the Vikings. I think this defense is I don't think it was a fluke. Zimmer has had the Packers number the last couple of times they've played. I think he's 4-1-1. I think it continues this week. What do you got, G?
I don't think it was a fluke a week ago, but I want to see their offensive line continue that storyline. Everyone thinks they're so much better just because they had a couple short fields early in that game. I think Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, the Smith brothers blow them up, and the Packers get a victory.
I'm with you on that. Although Mike Zimmer did tell me he prefers when I pick against him specifically. So maybe that will be the extra inspiration. Yes, it's very personal.
There you go. All right, we got Colts, Titans. I think Titans are favored by 3 in this one, Cynthia.
And I think that's about right. I have the Titans winning 23-20. There's a lot of potential upside with. We don't know what Jacoby Brissett is yet. We don't know what this thing that Jacoby Brissett can do is yet. So ultimately, for me in this one, it is 23-20, convincing Titans win because the Titans secondary advantage.
Yeah, I think this entire Titans defense is better than we give them credit for. The pass rush looked great against my Browns a week ago.
It's all about Dean Pease.
And I get it. I'm a little biased. I just think this Titans team continues throughout the season to make some surprises. What you got, G?
I think we know what Jacoby Brissett can do. He can lead a 15-point comeback on the road. He can put that ball into some tight quarters. He did that against Los Angeles. There's something about this team.
You're really going to do that against this secondary?
I really think he can. There's something about this team. They got a little magic to them, this Colts team. I think they're going to be around all year and they win this game.
All right, here we go. We got the 49ers in Cincinnati. Bengals favored by 1.5 here. Cynthia, what do you got?
I have the 49ers defeating the Bengals 24-23. So that's the upset, if you want to.
Yeah,
I really like defensive pressure. I think Nick Bosa is a huge game changer in this. I know we saw Andy Dalton throw for 1 billion yards, 400 last game, but ultimately I don't think it's going to be that easy in this matchup.
I think the Bengals are going to come out and surprise some people offensively. I think Andy Dalton has another big game this week. I think
400?
The offense.
You calling for the 400?
I'm calling.
We doing cupcakes
that was
on the
my
400?
bold prediction. No, don't try to box me into a tough one. No, you're trying to get your cupcake back.
300.
All right, let's go. 300.
300. Okay.
300. I got Bengals winning. G, what do you got?
2019's crazy. Andy Dalton is more trustworthy to make a big-time throw in this game than Jimmy Garoppolo, no doubt about it. I'm taking the Bengals. I feel better about this game than any other ones we pick. I mean it.
Really?
I love
I'm not big on these 49ers.
I love it. All right, let's get to some other picks that we haven't talked about yet for these early games. What stands out to you here?
I mean, Titans big. I even think it could be even bigger than the number that you're seeing on your screen because now you saw that the Texans have an advantage with more defensive players being out for the Jags and the O-line being out for the Jags. So that one could be even bigger. But I don't think the Patriots go ham. I think they keep it a little more conservative. I think a nice 17-point win.
Well, we all agree on the Bills winning against the Giants. We're saying that the Bills will be starting 2-0 with 2 road wins. That's the type of team that you start to have to start. Yeah, in the same building that you have to start paying attention to.
And the other,
I like it.
Yeah, I guess New Jersey, right? But
they own New York.
They do. They're the only one in New York.
We got Juju Smith-Schuster on the field in Pittsburgh, looking to shake the bad juju from last week.
Aww.
More on this on Game Day View, presented by Jeep Gladiator.
That's so cute.
Bad juju.
Julian Edelman, somehow the forgotten man of this receiving core, getting ready to take on the Dolphins. Short shorts, still the wave, I see.
He cut those off. Those are self-made, I think.
Man, he's battling Saquon for the quad
Right, I was
game.
going to say, if you're working on the quads that much, you want to show them off. And
Jeez, man.
Better than you might imagine, right?
I agree. All right, here goes some more picks for some of the later games.
I think Bears big. I like the Chiefs in this one, but look, I do like the Keelan Doss narrative for the hometown kid. Scores the touchdown for the Raiders. So I like that one too.
This Broncos-Bears game is the one that I didn't know what to do in the afternoon.
Ooh, look at you, you're different.
I went with the Broncos.
Agree.
There's just something...
Cupcakes.
Hawk was talking about bad juju, good juju. I feel like there's bad juju around this Bears team. That just things are going to go
You know who's going to be mad about
wrong
that? Producer Matt Tanton.
I know.
Producer Matt Tanton, you're going to be kicked off the show.
All right, here we go. Let's get to our best in class presented by Jeep Gladiator. We're going to talk about the ones that we think are going to have huge days. Cynthia, tee us off.
I feel like all week I've been really high on Devontae Adams for a comeback. I feel like I've been really high on a ton of these top guys, Ezekiel Elliott. So I'm going to give you one that's a little less on the normal radar, right? It's a guy who had a bounce back week. I mentioned it before. I think Brandon Cooks is the pick in this one. I think he has a great matchup against the secondary. I think this is a high-scoring game overall, which means target all of the offensive players in this one. But Brandon Cooks, touchdown, deep passing, I think this is where it's going to happen. I like his matchup against 25. You know who 25 is?
Who's 25?
Eli Apple.
I
think
Apple.
Revenge game, Brandon Cooks, you know?
There you go.
Not enough targets for him, and Michael Thomas had to get rid of one.
As you get older, there's a lot of revenge games as players bounce around. Greg, who you got for best in class?
There's a lot of revenge shows, too, you know? Cupcakes, I need my cupcake
Devin
revenge.
Singletary of the Buffalo Bills, the rookie running back. No revenge game for him. If you watched him last week, reminds me a little bit of Frank Gore, his teammate, because he's got these subtle moves where he doesn't look like the fastest guy in the field, but he makes people miss, picks the holes, and really anyone going up against the Giants to me is a best-in-class candidate every week. Worst defense in the league, I believe, in terms of talent, front to back.
Question, who looks better in a starter jacket, him or his dad?
Very good question.
Because Mike Singletary looks the best in a starter jacket of anyone I've ever seen.
All right, for my pick, I'm going with Alvin Kamara. I think what Christian McCaffrey did to the Rams defense last week, they have a similar skill set, and I think he's really coming to his own since Mark Ingram has left. He's ready to be the guy. He's ready to step up, and the Saints are going to go to him early and often. They're juiced up. They feel like a Super Bowl was taken from them a year ago. So I think he's going to have a huge day against the Rams today in L.A.
Look, you were right last week, so who are we to judge?
Yeah,
you know?
And the numbers I've ran in my head are super accurate. Let's get to some fan tweets. We got Antonio Brown or Deshaun Jackson for PPR.
Go
Jackson.
Jackson.
Go Jackson.
Jackson. Antonio Brown has way too much volatility. It could be 3 catches for 5 yards, or it could be a touchdown and 800 yards, but I go Deshaun Jackson.
All right, let's get to another one here. We got, what do you think, Diggs or T. Williams at wide receiver?
T. Williams, 100%. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy on that one.
Wow.
Tyrell Williams.
Chiefs could have a lot of points.
But Raiders, that is the Chiefs secondary is a great one to target in fantasy, and Tyrell Williams, Holloman. Touchdown.
All right, here we go. Well, thank you for joining us here on Game Day View, presented by Jeep Gladiator. Make sure you keep it locked right here for Fantasy League 1 at 12:30 p.m. Eastern.
Have a good game, Saquon. I know you're listening to us.
They need you.